Did you
happy days.
Did you want to be doing that stuff? Did you project yourself into seeing yourself as an actress when you were very, very tiny?
Well, the first time I saw myself, it was really strange. But I enjoyed watching them, and I enjoyed watching the shows, and I always thought what it would be like.
When was the first time you saw yourself?
I think it was for a Johnson's baby shampoo commercial.
And you remember looking at TV?
I remember I felt really strange, because I understood what I did, because I knew that I worked a day, but I couldn't understand quite why I was...
You were what, 2 or 3 or 1?
No, I think at my first commercial I must have been about 3 or 4.
About 3
yeah.
or 4.
So I was sitting with my mother, and I was watching myself, and it took me a while to realize. I asked her why I was there, and it felt really funny watching myself, because it was the first time that I'd seen myself.
If you go all the way back to the beginning, when you were 3 years old like that, did you ever have any sense of being nervous in front of the camera? Or
Never.
Never?
Because I started so young.
So young, right. So it's a natural...
I was always comfortable.
How do you feel about cameras now when you get in front of a camera?
I don't ever think about them, they're just there, and I never get worried about them.
Nothing at all.
Because I think it was because I started so young.
It's a second nature.
Yes, I started with the still cameras, and then from movies, but even that transition wasn't at all scary. It was even more exciting.
People can't figure out, I mean, I've known you since you were, what, 10 years old? I've known you almost half your life, but people can't figure out why you have what they perceive as this uncanny ability to project yourself as being older than you are. Well, how would you explain that to them? I mean, you do that. I mean, the Vogue things, all...
Well, I think that I never tried to be older. When I worked for Vogue or in any of the magazines, you look older. And I think whenever you put makeup on any teenager, they look older.
Do you feel differently? Do you feel different when the makeup goes on, when you put it on?
You put it on, and sometimes they play music, and then you get into a whole... You change your personality in a way, and it becomes just a big game. It's like dress-up. Because when I was younger, I'd wear my mother's clothes and makeup. Yeah. And then this is just for real, and yet the minute you take it off, then I'm just 15 again, but it's fun.
What's the difference between the Brooke who goes to school wearing no makeup, right, and the Brooke who is in Vogue magazine? Inside you, forget about what people project. We can talk about that later. But inside you, is there a real difference? Do you feel much different?
Well, you feel much different, but I know I'm feeling much different. I know that I'm playing a game.
It's a game.
It is a game.
It's always been a game, right?
It's always been. It has to be a game. Yeah. I don't think it shouldn't be any more than a game or work or anything. Well, it might be a job that you feel strongly about doing, but you've got to have fun doing the job.
So it's rooted in, to really try to understand it, as I think I do, it is rooted in the fact that this is second nature to you. It's something you've done since you were a tiny child, and your mother probably started off with you playing it like a game.
Right, because I don't think that I would wear the amount of makeup and wear the clothing and go out, because that wouldn't be me. I wouldn't.
You don't do that on your own.
Right, but that's the excitement about it, because you get to go into that.
Well, how do you respond now to the fact that even going back when you were in Pretty Baby, when you're, 10 or 11 years old? 11 years old?
11.
10, one of the two. They're pretty close. That now all of this is added up into now that you are perceived and have been for the last couple of years as a sex symbol. How do you relate to that? That's
another one of the things that I don't even think about it. See, when people say that to me, they'll say what you just said, and I don't even think that I am.
I know that you don't think that.
That's the weird part. And then if say I am looked upon like that, then that's just another part of, quote, the game. Because then it's just, again, that's not really me, but people look at me and see that.
But all of this has also added up into a very impressive career. And Peter Fonda told me that he thinks you have the greatest natural ability in front of a camera he's ever seen. And this is a person who's grown up in Hollywood, and you've gotten some excellent reviews. What do you see for yourself? Do you really want to go all the way? I mean, to really have a great... Guess what?
Because, see, and I think right now I'm getting older and I'm realizing. When I was doing... I'm working on my 8th movie. Yeah. And so now I was serious before and I did my best, but I was just doing pictures and I was doing them, and I never really thought seriously about continuing. I didn't want to stop what I was doing, but now I'm really seriously, I want to just get better and better.
So if you had to state your goals, most people would say to a teenager, 15-year-old, what do you want to do when you grow up, right?
I want to survive till 16.
Survive to 16.
15's hard enough.
What a sweet 16 party you're going to have.
Right.
But if you had to define goals, do you have professional career goals at this point that are, you know,
That's
specific
hard.
things? Yeah.
I think it's just become. I want to be looked at as just a really good actress, and you have to work at it really hard.
In a way, you recognize your beauty can get in the way of being perceived as a really.
A lot of it's hard, you know, to say that, but a lot of people, they look at the outside, and so that's why I want to get the chance to show
performances.
Inside.
How have you reacted to the outrage in some circles over the Calvin Klein's jeans commercials?
I tell you, it's so funny because I didn't even know what a big thing it was until Christina Ferrari. She came up to me one day and she said, "So what do you think about it all?" And it just clicked then because I didn't think it was such a big thing. And then so it was all going on. It was going on behind me, and I didn't even pay attention to it. And then when it was brought to my attention, I thought it was silly. I think.
What was the one that they took one off the air? What was the line?
I don't even know. I think it was.
You know what
comes between me and my. I think it was nothing comes between me and my Calvins.
Yeah.
And you don't even. You wonder where the minds are. The people that are saying the things.
Do you feel at all threatened by the 12-year-old and the 10-year-old models coming up behind you?
You know, my mom has always said, you know, that somebody always comes after you.
I'm really I mean, you have a wonderful career, so I'm half joking, but it is interesting to project that you're really the first of now a whole new crop, a whole new wave of young girls.
I think that's neat because I want these other kids to have as much fun that I did.
You don't feel that your childhood has been lost?
No, I'm still going through it.
But people want to think that, don't they? They want to think, well, she's done this, she's done 8 movies, but you have a childhood. I mean,
they forget that I started so young, so that even though I've worked years.
Everybody knows about the working Brooke Shields, Vogue magazine, movies, and so forth. What about the non-working Brooke? First, do you get an allowance?
Well, see, my mom, she gives me some, $10 a week.
An allowance. So you actually do have an allowance.
I don't have to do too much in my room, though. Just try to keep it neat.
I would think that you've always impressed me as being an organized person.
Extremely. I'm very, very neat. Not necessarily, like, I'm very methodical on everything. Everything is...
You've always seen, I'm exactly the opposite.
Really?
Yeah,
I'm just...
Never been neat.
I get so, like, my handbag and my purse, everything's in one single place. It's like my mom, though. She's got everything mixed up in her bag. Gets me, I can't look at her bag.
So
I get
so... You're the opposite of that. So the non-working Brooke gets an allowance, right?
Yes.
What about your school friends? I guess it's obvious that, and I'm sure people ask you this a lot. Has it been difficult to retain normal relationships with kids who, at an age when it's difficult enough to get along well with everybody, and when people are saying, if you walk down and look the wrong way in a high school corridor, like when I was in high school, they would say that I was conceited because I didn't see somebody. Now here you are in 8 films and so forth. Has it been difficult to maintain a normal relationship with your schoolmates?
Not at all. It really hasn't, because I went to a school for the first year, and that was difficult. But it wasn't difficult at all because I had made any movies. It was just simply difficult on a regular basis. Kids already have cliques. And I was new as the new girl, and you're treated differently. But now I've got some of the closest friends, and I know I'll have for a very long time.
That's
and
right.
It's so weird because I'm with them, and they couldn't care less, what...
Well, you give them that. I mean, you don't use it. You don't do an attitude on them. You're intelligent enough to know that they don't have to. That you just really want to be.
Yeah,
you do
I
really
wouldn't do
separate
that
your
anyway,
working.
though. It's definitely separate, and I'm having the best year with my friends. Because I'm so into school and friends and everything.
Well, what are you doing in school? What sort of things?
Well, I'm a cheerleader. I made it onto the cheerleading squad. First we were for football.
What if you had been rejected? That would have been worldwide news.
In a way, it wouldn't have been as bad. I would have been upset, but I would have, I would have been defeated the right way.
We had so many other areas, but
we had tryouts, and we were all equally as nervous, all equally as scared, and you just we just got out there and did our best, and then later we found out.
And has it been difficult for you to have, I mean, at this point, for you to have a normal type social life with the guys? Do you find that the guys in your grade are totally threatened by not only the fact that you are very beautiful, but the fact that you've been in movies, that they've been leading men and so forth like that, and they think, every man in the world potentially is interested in you? How does that affect a little 10th grader?
Well, I don't think it happened, I think, in the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Because it was just like the guys didn't know how to act to me, and sometimes they couldn't say. It was almost like my first name without connecting the last name.
Right.
And they didn't separate it. So, and then as the year went on, though, I'd talk to them about it, and I'd sort of...
So you would see that they were intimidated.
And I wouldn't like it, so I would make sure that I would let them know that...
So how did you learn how to do that? I mean, there are 35-year-old women I know who don't have the ability to make a man feel comfortable like that. Now, how do you know how to do that?
I don't know. That's what I want, is somebody to feel comfortable with me. That's the main thing.
Listen, if you don't have that, what do you really have?
Right, because and then if the person then likes you for that, for this image or whatever, then they're not really liking you, and you don't want that anyway.
Is it hard when you go to do a movie not to have a crush on the boy or the leading man or the leading boy, whatever he is? I
think usually I make sure that I have a good friendship with the friend, because I think it helps. I don't think that there's ever a set thing, well, okay, here's a leading man, and I'm now going to have a crush on him. It's never like that. Usually in the beginning, you've both been told so much about each other, and so your co-star's, good looking, and so that's the fun part. But then as the movie goes on, then you just really become good friends.
What was it like doing the film on the island, being on the island so long but this is the same people?
It never really got that bad, which was good. We never got on each other's nerves.
It was Fiji, right, where you did Blue Lagoon?
Yes, and we were there for 3 months on this deserted island, and you would think that we would have gone crazy, but we had...
I don't know about that.
Well, because with each other, though, it was exciting. I got very good friends, and it was just really fun, because the people, we never really fought at all, and we never had, there was not much intention.
What would you do at night? I mean, 3 months, and your mom was there, right?
Yeah, my mom was there.
And the director and the cast and the natives and so forth who were helping and around. What would you do at night for 3 months?
I was never bored. I was always busy doing something, making necklaces, getting shells. And by the time we finished...
Typical island work.
I know, really. By the time we finished work, we'd finish at about 7, if we lost the light before then, though. And then you're tired, and you sleep so well, because you're just right on the water.
Yeah, that's good. Well, particularly when you're working that hard. Have you done anything that, now when you look back on it, because you were younger, like with Pretty Baby, where you played a child in a house of prostitution, not a child prostitute, right? It was a child in a house of prostitution.
I think she later becomes.
Now when you look back on that, does any of it embarrass you? And like if you're with your friends, you went to the movies with your friends, would you feel?
No, because it's all like a big, not a joke, but
it's still that game, isn't it?
It always
gets back to the game,
which I think it works always. And I don't even have to try anymore, And I just don't. Whenever I look back at something, I have to be proud of whatever I did, because I accomplished something.
I know that you really are working hard in school. I mean, on one level, people might say that, Bob, she's not. Why are you working so hard in school? You've got everything else going for you. Why are you going to be studying trigonometry? Why are you taking all these